This is only a rumor, but in Season 5, Arya Stark might be using a
Micro Jig, maker of the Gripper. Work safer, work smarter.
extra fancy box joints without any special tools, jigs, or setups. I'm gonna rip all of the boards for this project down to 1 inch or 25 millimeters wide. This would make a great limited tools project also. You could buy 1.5 inch 38 millimeter lumber right off the rack, and you wouldn't need to rip it any narrower. And you could cut all of the pieces to size using either a miter saw or a jigsaw or a circular saw. If you made this crosscut sled from last week's video, this is a good opportunity to test it out. I'm gonna start by cutting out all the longest pieces by setting up this stop block. I'll measure the distance from it to my blade. I'll clamp this into place. And I'll adjust for the next size board and so on and so on. I'll glue all of these pieces together to make up the top. I'm going to loosely clamp these together. Now I need to make sure that there's a space the thickness of a board on each end. I've got these two boards with packing tape on them so glue doesn't stick to it. And I'll try to flatten this out using them. On a small panel like this, it's best not to clamp them down too tightly, just enough for the glue to grab, otherwise it could cause the panel to bow. You should have enough glue on there that it squeezes out like that. I'll just sand that off once it's dry. When cutting these really small pieces, you can use a pencil to hold it in place and keep your fingers out of the way. Here's the top piece all glued up. Now I need to come up with a strategy for gluing together the sides. It's posing a lot of problems I didn't foresee when I designed this. The biggest problem is I'm not sure if I can glue the sides completely together and still have it make a nice looking box joint. What I'm afraid might happen is if I glue this together all as one piece and these aren't all lined up perfectly, when this piece goes to fit into this piece, there's probably gonna be some gaps up here that's gonna spoil the illusion of a box joint. So instead, I think I'm going to build up the sides in sections. I'm gonna glue on all of these in between pieces first and then work my way down. But first I want to make sure I sand off all the glue from this top piece. I think once I get these 4 corner pieces in, the rest will be a piece of cake. Or not. I'm pretty certain there's a better way to do this, but I'll just be patient. I'll let this part dry and then I'll move on to the next step. These square parts are just the thickness of a board, so I can use one of these as a spacer. Well, let this dry overnight. Time to behold the wonders of sanding. I'm using a file to ease over the edges of these square holes. I could square up these uneven ends. I'm gonna round over all the sharp edges using my router. If you don't have a router, you can just use your sander to round them over. I think this will look nice with a coat of Danish oil, and it'll protect it too. And I'd like to thank you for watching this week's episode of Woodworking for Mere Mortals. I really like the way this works, and it fits on there nice and snugly. If you'd like to make your own, check down below for a free set of plans in both imperial and metric. Of course, you'll need to measure the arm of your own sofa and modify those plans to fit. Hey, look who's here. It's Princess Meow-Meow. What do you think of that? I think if I were to make this again, I would try to make the two sides separately and glue them to the top. At least give it a shot. Don't forget to check out the Woodworking for Mere Mortals website at formeremortals.net, where you can download lots of free plans and post pictures of your own projects. If you're new to the show, welcome. I'd love to have you take a moment and subscribe to Woodworking for Mere Mortals. And if you're already a fan of the show, I'd like to remind you to please check out the Woodworking for Mere Mortals Patreon page and consider pledging a couple of dollars a month to Woodworking for Mere Mortals. I really appreciate all of your support over. Hey, where are you going? And there's lots of perks and special benefits associated with becoming a patron of the show. And I'd like to give a special shout out to Carmen Salomon. Once again, he helps me out with a lot of projects, and he sent me over an idea for a project similar to this, and I just really loved the idea of making box joints without any kind of special jig. Thank you so much for making Woodworking for Mere Mortals a part of your day. I'll see you next time.